So today we're in chapter 14 of the Andrew Leedham book, The Unstoppable Self-Confidence, that we're going to talk about, the carefree operating system. Can you imagine what it would feel like to be carefree? Carefree. Not a worry in the world. Not a worry in the world. Now, being carefree is not to be confused with not caring, at all, but being carefree and being peace with yourself. Starts with a quote on page 309. Being free brings a lightness, a carefree surrender to all that is happening around you, and above all, an acceptance of reality. An acceptance of reality. Think about some of your stresses, some of your anxiety. A lot of the things that we're stressed out about are things that are out of our control, right? A lot of things that we're stressed out about is something that we want it to be, but it's not, right? We'd like it to be this way, but it's not. It's that way. And we have difficulty with accepting what is reality, what is true. And we fight this endless battle to try to make it be what we want it to be. And we might fail. And that doesn't feel good to you. It makes us feel hopeless, right? Makes us feel worthless sometimes. That failure sometimes can do that. But it's a different level of confidence, this carefree operating system. It's a confidence not just about themselves, but about life, about their quality of life. So the power of being carefree, the more relaxed you are, the better you are at everything. The better you are with your loved ones, the better you are with your enemies, the better you are at your job, the better you are with yourself. Being carefree. Have you ever been called a nag by anybody? Man, stop nagging. You're nagging me. Right? You're asking me 100 questions and so on and so forth, right? That's not carefree, is it? It's not carefree. Got a lot of questions. Why are you asking so many questions about other people? Are you writing a book? What are you doing? Are you an investigative journalist? You're in a new career? What you doing? What you doing over there? A lot of times we chalk that up to tell ourselves that we're protecting ourselves from other people. Are you really? Are you really protecting yourself from other people by asking those questions? Is that what it is? The power of carefree. Firstly, being carefree is essentially being non-needy, unattached to any outcome. It means you know what you desire life to be like, but you are completely open and okay to it being different from how you perceived. You don't need any particular outcome to happen, even though you may desire it. Expectations. This gets with expectations. A lot of times we have expectations for a first date, right? And many times they don't live up to those expectations. We leave that first date and we're like, oh man, they were, different, right? They were different. They were unique. There was something out of a different planet, right? We have a lot to say when we have expectations beforehand. Having expectations is almost a sure thing to be disappointed in any kind of engagement that you have. Being carefree doesn't mean you don't care about people, places, your goals, key issues that's going on. Doesn't mean that. It means that you don't need those things to be exactly as you preconceived ideas say they should be, right? Be exactly as your preconceived ideas say they should be. So being carefree doesn't mean that you don't care about people around you. It just means that you're not attached to the outcome and you don't need what it is that you're talking about in that moment to live. to carry on, to succeed. All you need is you. That's it. All you need is you. It means that your sense of well-being is based on your trust and faith in yourself and the process of life, rather than specific circumstances being as they should. Let that sit in for a minute. So to be carefree means we have to trust ourselves and have faith in the process. But a lot of times we fear the process of life because there's so much unknown about it. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I certainly don't. I don't have a crystal ball. Can you trust in the process that when you go to sleep tonight, that everything will be okay tomorrow when you wake up? Or do you fear what you wake up to, or what the day might be like, or what tomorrow might bring? What are you worrying about? What's on your mind? You care, but you're not attached. You desire, but you do not need. You care, but you're not attached. You desire, but do not need. That's what being carefree is about. We have desires. It's okay. But some of those desires may not come to fruition. It doesn't mean that your life's a waste. Right? Some of our goals are, continuing, right? Doesn't mean that we failed. Not at all. Not at all. We have to celebrate the small successes. Here is one that requires a lot of trust. Everything works out for the best. Everything that happens in your life happens perfectly in order for you and everyone involved with you to grow exactly in the way you've needed to and wanted to grow. Some people might take issue with that. Some people may take issue with this. That simply just let it go and it will work out. It will work itself out. Because we have lots of control, or we want to have control of the situation or the outcome of the situation. So we get heavily involved in it, right? So that we can try to influence the outcome. But when it's not in our control, how can we spend time trying to control it? In fact, we spend a lot of time trying to do so. We even can bang our head through glass type of thing, trying to get that outcome that we so desire or require or wish for, hope for. And we get too much involved in the process. Doesn't occur naturally, authentically. But everything does tend to work out. I mean, think about it. Think about some of your past experiences, some of your big troubles, some of the things that you've gone through. They might not have worked out the way we would have liked them, but they did come to an end. They do have a solution. There is a way forward. You learn that multiple times throughout your life, even as a child playing games, as an adult, just dealing with people, relationships, things at work, problems with family, problems with friends, problems in relationships, you name it. You found a way forward. It may not be the best. It may still bug you or haunt you, cause you stress, anxiety, but it's over. The experience is over. Everything works out. Everything has a solution. Life always and only works out for the best. But what's best often looks different from what our limited minds can conceive. How many of you work in teams? Do you work in teams, groups of people? Collaborate with others, maybe across different industries? How many of you work with teams? Have you ever led a team and came up with an idea? And then by the end of the meeting, with everybody's contributions, the idea now has grown from something that you had to something greater and bigger. And you've created a cause in that meeting, right? Because now you motivated people, you interested people, you sparked their curiosity. It gets done better than what we thought it should be, or what we initially thought of how that, or what that would look like. Better. Not worse. Better. Things happen for a reason sometimes, don't they? The truth that whatever happens works out for the best. Everything works out for the best, even if it looks like the very worst thing to happen to you. We've been in so many of these experiences where we felt the floor drop beneath us. We've had so many experiences in our life where we felt like we weren't able to get past it, that we weren't strong enough to do it. But you did. You rose to the occasion. You took things day by day, even though it was probably tough. Day by day. Slow and steady wins the race. The tortoise and the hare. Day by day. For everything else, control is an illusion. Having control is an illusion because the only person you can control is yourself. That's it. You can't control your kids. Take out the garbage. The next morning the garbage is there still. Pick up your toys by the time they go to bed and you say goodnight. Still all over the floor, all over everywhere. Even your spouses. You've resorted to a honey-do list and they can't even follow that. And you just want to go, how can I make it any easier? Can I make it any easier for you? It's pretty easy. The directions were there, the writing was there, you told them that the note was there, you told them that there were a few things there. But when you came home, the note was still there and nothing was crossed off of it. And you just want to scream. 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 Because you expected it to be what? To be done. There was no excuse, right? No excuse. You're here all day. You have nothing better to do. You should be able to get it done. But they didn't. Was it wrong that they wanted to choose to spend their time differently? Is it wrong for somebody to think that those are not necessarily important at the moment? Maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe in your mind it's a matter of principle. I do this, you do that. Transactional. I'll do this, but you do that. Transactional. Right? Got to be careful about these transactions because we tend to keep score. The more things I do for the other person and the less the other person does back makes me less enthusiastic to do more and more and more and more. But that's because I had an expectation that I was going to get something in return for something that I chose to do or committed to do or said I would do. Keeping score. Got some scorekeepers out there in your relationships? Who keeps score? Are you really keeping score? Don't keep score. It's not good. It's not good. So it's just a situation to deal with. So much living carefree is simply about replacing inaccurate and harmful and destructive thoughts with accurate, natural thoughts. Okay? When problems arise, when challenges come into your life, having your dealt thinking working the right way instead of the wrong way, right? Remember, these challenges are just simply situations that we have to deal with. Situations. So on page 318, he talks about some steps we can take. So he says, so here's exactly how to deal with a problem or a challenge the next time one comes up. Now think about his steps and compare it to what you would do. Step 1. I love step 1. Slow down. Calm your mind. Take a moment to check you are in control of your thoughts and not your ego. Slow down. Calm down. I can't tell you, do not say that to people. I mean, some people can go off their rocket if you tell them to calm down. Tell me to calm down. I'll show you to calm down. You can see their eyeballs pop out of their head, the little vein that comes off the side of their forehead there, on their temple. Calm down. The first thing you do when you're faced with a situation is not to respond. I mean, that's the best thing to do, right? You know when you have an email that you're heated, right? And you have the 24-hour rule, right? You need to have your own rules when you're faced with a challenge or a situation that helps you take pause. Because most often than not, it's within those few seconds that you learn about the situation and your response to it that you go places that you never needed to go. In fact, you contribute more to the problem than the solution when you make a knee-jerk reaction response to something that you're going through. And once you let that cat out of the bag, you can't put it back. You can't unfry an egg. Once you fried that egg, it's done. It's done. So there's a lot of stability that we need. We need a lot of discipline. When faced with something tough, we need to take pause and say, okay, what's this really about? Think about it, observe, right? Most people don't realize, but you learn the most when you keep your mouth shut and just observe. Take it in. Take notes. What's happening here? What's this about? Why is this happening? Why is this spiraling out of control? So step 1 is to slow down. Take pause. Step 2 is to remind yourself of the truth that no matter how bad things look, that you know your life always works out for the best. And this situation being presented to you is one of the same. Is one of the same. Because in that moment, we don't think that. We don't think that it's going to be okay. We think the world is ending. We need to remind ourselves that it's going to be okay. Pause. Tell yourself it's going to be okay. Number 3 is to consider all possible ways that this situation could work out for the best for you. All the lessons that you can learn from it, all the skills, the strength and wisdom you could acquire, all of the possible changes that you can make to make your life better. They're always there, even if you can't see them at first. That's the truth, right? A lot of times our knee-jerk reaction is very, very, very limited. Very limited. But if we step back, we think about things, we try to understand the situation a little bit more, remind ourselves that it's going to be okay, it's not the end of the world, I'm still alive, I still have a pulse. right? Didn't take me out type of thing. And then the third is to discover all the possible ways that it could work out. So what can I gain from this situation that the good Lord has put me in? What can I learn about this? Right? We don't want any experience to go away in vain without any learning that takes place. You have to learn from every situation so that when it comes back again, or similar kind of experience comes along, that you know how to deal with it, that you can confidently deal with it. Step 4 is to decide what your desired outcome is, to recognize that this may or may not be the best possible outcome, but you know in your own mind that you would like it to happen. Check that you're in a state of allowing other outcomes to happen, meaning flexibility in those outcomes. So yeah, you need to have a plan, right? How is this going to work out? Or what's the best way it could work out? But you also need to be flexible with that plan, because over time, there might be a different and a better solution for the problem. But if you're focused on that one solution and you can't get it fixed, then what? Then what? Probably feel like the greatest failure on earth. And we don't need you to feel that way. We don't want you to feel that way. Step 5 is to consider all your options, no matter how realistic or unrealistic they seem, to achieve the desired outcome that you're looking for. And then after reasonable consideration, move forward in a diligent, workmanlike way to bring about the outcome you would like to see. I think the most important step of this whole process, when you're faced with a challenge, is to pause. I mean, I can't tell you how many people out there have so many regrets by the way they've handled situations, right? Oh man, I flew off the handle on that one, right? I went off the handle on that one. Went crazy. You can't put that back in the bottle once it's out, right? So you need to be very careful about how you respond in the first 30 seconds upon facing a challenge or recognizing that you have a challenge or something went wrong. Take pause. Think. Know what you're doing. Make sure it's not in bias. Make sure you're not jumping to conclusions. Many people who don't have that discipline, that space between them and something or response to something, find themselves in situations that now they become the problem. Has that ever happened? I can think of a few times that's happened to me, where I've now become the problem. Bigger than the problem that was there because of my response to it, right? Do you want to contribute to the problem or do you want to fix the problem? Which one? You need to choose. You need to choose. This next section of the book says, just deal with it. Deal with it. Deal with it. A lot of us think that when we're faced with problems that they're unique to us, that we're the only ones in the world going through a shitty time. No. There's almost, 7.6, 8 billion people in this world. I can guarantee you that what you're worried about or how your husband treats you or something that your friend did, somebody else has done it too. Somebody else is going through it too. Google. Use Google. Don't believe everything you see, but use Google. Hey Siri, anybody else's significant other watch, different things while we're in intimacy, you're going to find blogs for miles long on that topic. You will find it. And I think the best part about it is that you're not alone. You got to find somebody. You got to find that person. Your person. Who's your person? Who do you talk to when things go wrong? When you're feeling uncomfortable? Who do you talk to? Who is your person? Sharing is everything. When you get stuck in your own thoughts, the only thoughts you hear are your own. And unfortunately, your own thoughts are not helping you in the situation. In fact, it's making it worse. Making it worse. Who's your trusted partner? Who's that friend that you can tell anything to? No matter how crazy out of a movie it may sound, you are not the only one who's experienced it. We have so much humiliation sometimes. How can I say that? It's so personal. Or how can I share that? It's deeply personal. You know, my spouse, when somebody like, oh, I don't know. They like to dress up. Wear my underwear. I don't know. A lot of people experience some crazy things. Let me tell you. I've heard it all. As a life coach on TikTok, I've heard it all. I can never be surprised. Gratitude. Let's talk about gratitude. The only prayer you said in your whole life was thank you. If the only prayer in your life you said was thank you, that would be enough. It's amazing how one simple action can change so much in a person. Have you ever caught somebody off guard? This happened to me yesterday, actually. I was talking to somebody and they said, hey, things weren't going well with my spouse. I want to get back on track with my marriage. And, this is a different story. Oh, everything's going great. I met somebody, right? They love me for who I am. I told them, here are all my flaws. Here I am. Take me as I am. And I just said, so what'd you learn? I hope you learned that you were enough. You're enough. I mean, and you tell somebody that who's going through a tough time, or you say that, you watch them light up like a Christmas tree. Light up like a Christmas tree. Gratitude. Sharing gratitude. Being empathetic. Demonstrating empathy. How do you do that? The best way to shift a grateful mindset is to create a gratitude list. A list of all the things, big and small, and in between, that you are grateful for. What are you grateful for? Think about that. What are you grateful for? Don't say your kids. Don't say your spouse. What are you grateful for? What about you are you grateful for? You've made it this far. Shouldn't you be grateful for yourself? I think it's worth that. I think you need to tell yourself that. I'm grateful for me. I'm grateful that I've made it this far. I'm grateful that I'm strong. I have such strength. What are you grateful for? Think about that. Write a list. Write a list. Why feel bad? This section here is something that gets me because I tend to feel bad a lot. I feel bad for people. I feel bad for certain situations sometimes. Take a moment to consider the question I've asked earlier. Why feel bad? What's the value in feeling bad? When you feel bad about a situation, what's the value of feeling bad? How does you feeling bad, guilty, or ashamed in any way help you? Help you. How does it help you? I think it distracts you. I think it distracts us when we feel bad about something. I mean, we certainly can feel bad, but to hold that for a long period of time is not healthy, nor is it right, because most of the time when we feel bad, it's about other people's experiences. Oh, I feel bad about that. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, we're saying sorry for things that are not even, we didn't even do anything, right? We didn't even do anything. We have to be positive. You have to think positively. Instead of thinking or feeling bad, say, oh, okay, how can I spin this? How can I reframe this, right? Yeah, this is bad, but at the same time, right? There's some good in there. The bad doesn't outweigh the good unless your mind allows it to. And I've said in the world of biology, right? The human life has not walked this planet very long. We haven't. In our very short amount of time, right? We have civilized, we have homes, we can protect ourselves. But when we were out there, when we didn't have homes and we weren't civilized and we were moving from place to place to find food and make communities or so forth, our mind was fight or flight. Your parasympathetic nervous system, that's what it is, right? When you're faced with something, you're scanning. You're scanning for danger, danger, danger. I mean, have you ever thought about why, and when things go wrong or there's unknown, why you cook up the worst possible story and case scenario that could be ever even possible? It's because our mind is in the negative. We are constantly looking, scanning the landscape for danger to us. But we've developed so rapidly and we civilized, and now we're in cities driving cars. We don't need that mindset anymore, but our biology and evolution hasn't been very long to catch up with it. So it's natural for you to think negatively. It is almost, that's the way it works. So every day you wake up, if you need to counter that, you need to step up and you need to look in the mirror and you say, I will be good. I will think positively today. You need to remind yourself that over and over and over and over again. Over and over and over again, because evolution says we're still running free around the land. But positive thinking takes effort, takes mind shift. It takes discipline and practice. Discipline and practice. It doesn't come naturally. discipline and practice. You need to catch yourself, but you need to know what to look for to catch yourself. It's like this very vicious cycle. You are doing this unconsciously, and now I'm trying to challenge you to consciously point out, call yourself out in the moments that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. In the moments that you're going down a spiral, but you know that's not the right path to go. You need to stop it. You need to stop. And the best way to do that is to take pause. Step 1. Take pause. Something goes awry, something's not right, it comes to your attention, you want to respond quickly, but you're going to do something different now, right? You're going to take a pause, and you're going to think about this. You're going to say, what is the outcome that I need? How am I going to get through it? Who else is at play here? Right? Because most often than not, the situation is not what it seems. As you dig deeper and investigate, sometimes it's like, I flew off the handle for that. I lost my temper for that. There was nothing there. It was a nothing burger. And guess who has egg on their face? You. For jumping to conclusions, not taking pause, not demonstrating discipline, right? Discipline. Don't give up trying to think positively. So some things to consider. Can you see that being carefree, living in calm, relaxed state will allow you the fullest expression of your talents and gifts? Consider that being carefree doesn't mean that you don't care. It means that you are unattached to the specific outcome. You can't have expectations. I hate to tell you. Like, even if you're planning a party, anything can go wrong. You can't control everything. And if it goes wrong, you're probably going to think you're a failure, but you're not. You're not. We're not in a vacuum, right? So there's so many things at play here. So many. Consider that being carefree means that your sense of well-being means that you trust yourself and that you trust life to always work out for the best. I like that one. Being carefree means that you trust yourself. Do you trust yourself? Do you trust yourself to make good decisions for you? Do you trust your ability to see the red flags in other people, to know where to keep them, know where to place them? Or are you the type that goes on a first date and then dives in head first? And then when you don't get the text after the date, did you get home safely? You're like, oh my God, what did I do? Was I ugly? Did they not think I was cute? What'd they think? And you're eating yourself up. And the only thing that you can use is the fact that they didn't text you back. So then it must be all that. Not that they might have 20 other people that they're dating, or no, it's you. You're the problem. No. And I'm going to be honest with you. Beauty, cute, handsome, sexy, my definition, your definition, different. We all have different tastes. All have different palates. Don't tie the word. If somebody says, oh, I'm not attracted to you, be like, you have bad taste. Period. You have bad taste. Sorry. I'm going to carry on. But mind you, there's 8 other billion people in the world that you can find. It's not that just that one, okay? Because that one ain't worth anything. Shouldn't be anymore. Can you see how when you stop needing life to work out just so that you open yourself up to new options and new possibilities? This goes back to being flexible with the outcome. Recognizing that when you have an idea and you bring it to your team, that you and your team together perfect it, and then it was better than it was when you first started. Recognize that there are tons of outcomes for every situation. There's 100 ways to skin a cat, right? 100 ways. If somebody is doing a math problem and not following the steps that you showed them because they made their own, don't stress out. You don't know everything. You can learn something new too. Sure can, if you're open to it. If you're open to it, if you're flexible. I used to hate that. I mean, I came from probably the last generation of education teachers who made you do it their way. Otherwise, it was the highway. You had to do it that way. And I had so many better or different ways of approaching things, but nobody cared about it. It was frustrating. Would you feel frustrated? I bet. So why are you stuck to the one way? Why are you committing the same thing that you wouldn't want committed to you? What's going on here? Are we hypocrites? I don't know. Consider how when you know this and live it as a way of life and how you can relax in the uncertainty of life. Right? Consider how everything does always work out for the best. Think about some of these experiences you had. You moved on from them. You could do it. Right? They're not terminal. They're not fatal mistakes. Right? You didn't end anything. You're still here. Still kicking. Consider that the only thing you have 100% control over is your mind. We know that's true, right? For all those honey-do lists that you write and you post and all the notes you leave in the house to try to get people to remember things or to do things, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The only person you can control is yourself. That's it. If it gets done, it gets done. If not, okay. What's the big deal? Right? There's a little dust bunny in the corner. Oh well. It'll get picked up tomorrow. Listen, you don't live in a museum, okay? You live in a house. Can you see that your greatest power comes from surrender? What does that mean? Surrender. Surrendering your one-track mind, right? Being open to other ways of thinking, other ways of knowing, recognizing that so many things exist. So many. That yet to be explored. Yet to be explored. Can you see how your greatest power comes? Consider, is there any value in feeling bad for anybody? I mean, yeah, we want to be empathetic. We don't want to be in vain or immortal. We want to have feelings. You have feelings. I mean, I think, when they say something about like you're promised 2 things in life, death and taxes. Well, you're promised 3. 3, death, taxes, and emotions. Some of us are really good with our emotions. Some of us can't have a hard time managing them. Some of us don't even understand our emotions sometimes or how we respond. Like all of a sudden we just start bawling for no reason. Hyperventilating, like, oh my God, I'm having a panic attack. Why? What's the trigger? What caused it? Why is this happening to me? What did I do wrong? It's not you. It's not you. You're not broken. You're not a mistake. You're a good person. You mean well. You have good intentions. But you were trained by society. And society is not a good teacher. At all. Society is not a good teacher at all. Teaches us the good, bad, and the ugly. Teaches us that we can't share our emotions. Teaches us that, that it is the way it is. And we need to push out against that. You must share. Your situations, no matter how humiliating you might think they are, they're not unique to you. Somebody else shares the same experience. I bet you 1,000%. $1,000. Nobody has unique situations, okay? None of them. I've heard it all. Recognize your power. Recognize that your brain is constantly in the negative. That's our evolution. Recognize that you need to work hard every day to shift that negativity to positivity. Always and forever. It's a daily thing. I have to do it every single day I wake up. And so do you. Because if life were easy, I don't know the rest of the saying, everybody be happy, right? It's not. It's not. But listen, there's hope. There's hope for you, there's hope for everybody, there's hope for me. When we create community like we do here, we build a coalition, we support one another, we can be ourselves. That's number one. And number two, your life's not over. You're still here. And for every day you're still here, I need you to try. Because you matter. You're important, you're worthy, you're kind, and you are loved. And if you don't think that you're loved by anybody, know that you're loved by me. So that concludes Empower Hour today. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here next Thursday. So we're going to go 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I'll see you in 2 weeks for chapter 16. Make it a great one. Have a wonderful weekend. And happy 4th of July. Take care.